Blog Talk Radio.
Well, to be consistent, this is part 2 of the Tuesday show. We made an hour and 20 minutes of the first one and some technical difficulties, so who knows what happens. We apologize. At Talk Jets Radio on Instagram and Twitter. Let's Talk Jets Radio on YouTube. We're on Spreaker, SoundCloud, everywhere else. We bring back on Primetime real quick. Primetime, what's up, man?
I think it's Dan in Howard Beach. Isn't that like the second call in a row that we've crashed with Dan in Howard Beach?
Every time he calls in, it crashes. I don't know what the hell. He has some voodoo on us or something. so Primetime. We're gonna bring on Steve, man. So we get Steve, what's up, man?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
What's up?
How are you doing? It's the most important thing.
I'm doing really good. I hope you two are keeping safe.
Of course, man. So what are your thoughts on the Jets offense, man? Do you think – we'll start with quarterbacks. Are you comfortable with Flacco as the backup?
Yeah, because, with Flacco, with his veteran, he's a one-time Super Bowl MVP. He's definitely a good, backup for Sam. The thing is with Flacco is, he's coming off of that injury, who knows if he would even be ready by the time, if let's say if Sam gets hurt, then who do you turn to next? It would be Flacco, but it just depends on what happens with his injury.
Do you think the Jets need to bring in another veteran quarterback just to, just for insurance in case he's not ready week one, or would you have confidence, let's say, in James Morgan, just in case, Sam went down?
It honestly would be the safest decision. You got the other guy, James Morgan, who we drafted in the 4th round. And then the other guy, what was his name? David Fales. That I honestly wouldn't really trust them, honestly. So you kind of would have to bring in another quarterback, for insurance, in case if something bad would happen to Sam. Okay,
so then if you look at the running back position. What are your thoughts on the overall group? You got Kenneth Dixon, Josh Adams, Trenton Cannon, Gore, Bell. Do you like the group, and how would you set up the carries with them?
The core of the running back situation is actually pretty good. Here's the thing: you got to give Le'Veon Bell at least 20 to 25 reps a game, and if you put Frank Gore in, you only give him maybe around 5 reps. You don't give him 10 reps like Shaq. I don't know why Shaq said, I'll give him 10. No, honestly, you got to give him 5 because Frank Gore is just too old. I understand Frank Gore, knows the most of the system because he loved playing for Adam Gase when he was in Miami. But, you got to give at least Le'Veon, 20 or more reps.
Do you think the offensive line could actually be a strength on the team this year after all the changes?
It definitely can be, because, listen, that was the one big thing that Joe Douglas did work on in the offseason, because last year, we there were times, when we just couldn't protect Sam, or even when in games when Luke Falk was playing for us. That one game in Philadelphia where we gave up 10 sacks. Hopefully, this offensive line protects Sam and builds a good chemistry together.
So who are your 5 starters on the offensive line?
I start with McGovern at the center position. I have Mekhi Becton on the left, on the far left of the position. I would put Alex Lewis in there. And then I would also put what's his name? Then I have a matchup. It's neck and neck between George Fant and the guy Cameron Clark, who we drafted as well in the 4th round. But if let's say if I would start with George Fant, and if Fant is struggling, then I would give Cameron Clark that position.
Where, at right tackle?
And then. No, at the far right side.
So right tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right tackle. Yeah.
Wait a minute. You want
no?
What?
Well, because Clark was a right tackle in college, but I think a lot of people have projected him into a guard spot at the next level. So I mean, I think he could be a hybrid type player. But I think early on the expectations would probably be for him to play at guard. I think that would be an easier transition, as a rookie. So maybe somebody like Udoka or somebody else would be the one that would challenge Fant on the outside. But I'm curious though, who do you think is going to get that right guard spot? Is it going to be Winters or Van Roten or Clark or somebody else?
To be honest, I honestly think that Brian Winters should be cut. It's just I just have had enough with Brian Winters because the problem with him is he just doesn't.
Nobody likes
healthy.
Winters on this show.
I like Winters.
It's not that I don't like Winters. It's just the problem is he just can't stay healthy, Kevin.
Well, you don't like him. You just cut him for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't like him. I was going to cut him anyway.
No, I agree. I mean, he's obviously had some injuries, but to me, the thing that kind of separates him from some of the other guys, like Osemele last year, he was injured and he was willing to just kind of sit it right out. Whereas Brian Winters, same injury, tried to play, throughout almost the entire year. Even go back 2 years before, guy tears his abdomen, plays through an entire season. You don't find many guys that are willing to do that. So I think just from a toughness standpoint, a leadership standpoint, we haven't seen him healthy really that much in the last 3 years. And I think if he is healthy, you would see a better version of the Winters that we've seen. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see. And then, listen, I mean, the offensive line definitely made a huge improvement on the offseason. The biggest thing is if we have a good running game and we protect Sam. Those are, the two
Tyrone, hold on.
majorities.
Steve, hold on a second. But how do you rank the wide receivers now? Because you seem like you somewhat like the offensive line. You think the running backs are okay. How are you ranking the receivers, 1 to 5?
Okay, so if I had to rank them from 1 to 5, I would have to say what Tyrone said. I would have to give him a 3 right now.
But who's your number one receiver? So you're gonna say what? Crowder, Perryman, Mims. Who's your number 4?
I would say Jamison Crowder is my number 1 receiver, and I gotta tell you, I'm very, very, very high with Denzel Mims. So I would actually put Denzel Mims at number 2. I have to, and honestly, I would have to put Brashard Perriman at number 3. It's just the reason why I'm putting him at 3 and not at number 2 is because, Perriman hasn't really shown his potential ever since he was drafted back in 2015 by Baltimore. But at the same time, he definitely made some improvements.
But Mims hasn't played a snap in the NFL, and you're already saying you're second best receiver on the team? No pressure there.
I see a lot of potential.
Well,
Listen, Tyson,
not much else.
Tyson, hang on. Before you say anything, it's because I see a lot of great potential with him.
Okay, so then you have Crowder, Mims, Perryman, and then who's number 4?
Okay, at number 4, at number 4, I actually did like him a lot towards the end last year. I'm gonna go Vincent Smith at number 4, and then at number 5, I'm gonna go Braxton Berrios.
Your thoughts, Kevin?
Is that a list that you're comfortable going into week 1 with, or do you think that a veteran like, say, Taylor Gabriel or Demaryius Thomas should be brought back to compete with that group?
Demaryius Thomas, Jesus Christ.
I mean, hey, listen, I would definitely bring in Taylor Gabriel over Demaryius Thomas. It's just Demaryius Thomas is just he's out of there.
Just look at the names we're talking about here. Just think of the shit we're talking about here. It's for a young franchise quarterback, and the names we're tossing around
Well, why are we talking about these names? Because we didn't draft 2, like you said, we didn't draft 2 goddamn receivers when we had the chance to. So
the fact that we're having a Demaryius Thomas conversation just speaks volumes of how shitty our wide receiver group could be. We're one injury to Crowder away from being a mess.
One name we didn't mention that I totally forgot about, undrafted. We've seen, Robbie Anderson come in undrafted and make a big impact right away. Lawrence Cager. Him and George Campbell, both those guys.
What kind of chances is he going to get, though, with this kind of practice? How much can an undrafted guy show us in limited practice?
Why can't he show as much as anybody else? I mean, we've been talking about
the reps.
All
I'm
night.
saying, are they going to have those kind of reps? Are they even going to get those kind of reps?
I mean, it might not be the kind of reps that they typically get. But I mean, you could still put a receiver on the outside, and you could judge his speed. You can judge his ability to get underneath the ball, deep ball, his ability to catch and drills.
But Kevin, how do undrafted guys usually make the games? Usually make the team in preseason games, stuff like that, like shine, like whatever. Like I think an undrafted guy's gonna have their handful making a team this year.
Yeah, but look at what he's competing against. I mean, if he's able to outshine, Vincent Smith or Braxton Berrios, should that be that? I'm saying if he's a legitimate wide receiver, I don't think if any one of these guys are legitimate wide receivers that there should be that much difficulty in standing out with this group that we're looking at right now.
What do you think, Steve?
No, I mean, listen, Kevin made a good point. I mean, it just always depends on who really does show up at camp and who does show up, at the beginning of the year. I mean, these are undrafted receivers. I mean, look, we had that with Robbie Anderson a few years ago, but I mean, we'll see what happens. Listen, I could be right, I could be wrong, and the same thing for you two guys too. We'll see what happens when training camp comes around.
What an awful take. I could be right, I could be wrong.
I could be right, I could be wrong.
It may rain or may be sunny, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Terrible take. So, Steve, what is your prediction for the offense? The show came to a crashing halt. What is your prediction for the offense as we head into training camp? Like, what ranking? Are they top 20, top 15?
If they would have to right now say something about, like, where they're going to probably rank them, I would probably say at the beginning right now, probably top 25, but then if I'm hoping towards the end of the year, I would say like what Kevin said, hopefully between 15 and 12, like in the top 15.
So basically the way you're going to handle phone calls, just agree with everything Kevin says. That is going to go now?
No, I'm not saying
that's a good approach. That's a good approach.
And listen, Kevin and I have some different opinions, but honestly, Kevin has made some good points and takes tonight.
You tell him, Steve. You let him know.
Fair enough. That's fair enough, Steve. Have a good night, Steve. Thanks for calling. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good night.
Good talking to you, Steve.
Yeah, I bet it is, you bastard. Because now
that was an excellent call. That was
you know why it was an excellent call? Because you did the same stuff that Joe used to do for him. You gave him the life rap, and you bailed him out of his horrible take. He was just firing out names. They know what positions they were playing. Horrendous.
That was all Steve on his own. He came prepared. He had his notes ready. He delivered, man.
This is just ridiculous.
Who would have thought? July 7th show. Steve, ready to go.
We're going to bring Tyrone back on. Tyrone, what's up, man? Did you hear Steve's nonsense?
Hey, bro, listen.
Flame.
You know what? Hey, prime time, listen. It only takes Steve to bring that ass back out of Tyson. All that nice guy stuff stops when Steve on the line, bro. I just heard him over there flaming. I'm like, here it goes. Bro, I just knew it was coming, bro. Like, Steve it's Steve and Tyson, he just brings out that fire in Tyson every time. Tyson was trying to be nice, and Steve just, right to the middle, bro. Crazy.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to let you guys deal with Justin. So, Justin, what's up, man?
Oh, my. What's good? What's going on? What's good with the callers tonight, man? They got the
What's
ice.
your beef?
They in the callers are in the ice tub tonight, man. Callers are not definitely. They're in the ice tub tonight, man. They got the.
What's your beef?
Turn the temperature up, then, Jay. Turn the temperature up, Jay. Turn the temperature up, then, baby.
All right. So let's start. All right. So you want the temperature up? Let's start with the offensive line.
Keep it 100. Keep it 100 with us.
Let's go. The running back position, I think we're all in agreement. I think the running back position, that's an easy one. I think we have a little depth there. I mean, the 30 carries, that's obvious. You got to give Le'Veon 20 carries. Cannon's got to get more involved in the offense. I'd probably give him 5. P-Ryan's got to get like 5 to 7, and Gore, you're hoping Gore gets like 3 to 5 carries a game. I'm hoping Gore is just maybe a third down back, comes in every once in a while just to change it up, but I don't want to see Gore get any carries. So I think the running back position as a whole unit, I think we're fine there. As long as Gase knows how to utilize them, which we all know he doesn't. Hopefully, this guy's quarantine or something's been studying, hitting his books for the running backs. So I think the running backs as a whole, I think we're fine there. Let's go to tight ends.
Getting a little warm. No. Let's go to receivers. Tim's getting a little warm here. How you feel about receivers?
All right.
1 through 5. How you rank
Receivers? Receivers, I think Kevin was right. We needed to draft another one. But I think as a whole unit with the wide receivers and the tight ends, I think we have enough. People are saying, Dan and all you other people are saying we don't have enough. But Griffin had 5 touchdowns before with Herndon healthy. I think we have enough as a whole with Griffin, Herndon. I think I love the point of Wesco. I think Wesco is going to bring another dynamic to the offense too.
Wesco?
I think as a whole, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you like that one, but let's just see. Everyone's on the Vincent Smith train, but Wesco's been working too. So I think as a whole we got enough weapons on offense. I think that's just another excuse. I mean, with the Le'Veon, Herndon healthy, hopefully he stays healthy. Griffin, Mims, Crowder, if he's healthy, I think as a whole unit, I think we're going to be fine on offense. As long as the offensive line gels. That's the big if.
No, you bring up some good points on the weapons, but a lot of the guys you're talking about with Bell and especially the tight ends and even Crowder, if you want to put him in there, those are a lot of guys that are going to beat you underneath or out of the backfield. My concern, I think, the concern from a lot of fans is who are the receivers that are going to be able to consistently win matchups against top cornerbacks on the outside? Do you have that guy that could step in right away and beat you over the top? We know that Perriman and Mims have speed. Can they beat top corners consistently in this offense?
I hate to do this. I hate to bring it up, but I got to do it. This is the issue. We had that guy. We got rid of him. All these people wanted to say he wasn't a number one. They wanted to blah, blah, blah. He wasn't a number one receiver. He's a 2-rep, that's this, that, and the other. We had that guy in Robbie Anderson. We had that guy in our building. And we let him go.
Every time I bring up Robbie, I get yelled at because I'm told that, we still offered him a contract and he just chose to go to Carolina, which isn't exactly wrong. But at the same time, if you knew what the numbers were going to be and you were hesitant about going a certain amount beyond that, that's where you had a chance. That's where you had a chance to trade him.
$3 extra million, sure thing. Yep, for sure. Especially when you knew it wasn't what he was going to get. Yep, I agree with that. But I think that's the biggest issue.
$2 million. That's all it was. $2 million. That's the biggest issue right there. We lost the best receiver we had in the building with $2 million.
Yeah. Sickening. Still sickening.
But Jeff, what about the offensive line?
Well, offensive line? Yep, I got another one. Keep the oven going. Yep. All you guys want to do is talk about Brian Winters. Let's cut him this. Brian Winters is going to be competing for a starting job. I hate to break it to you. And you know what? He wasn't as bad as people say. When he was playing through an injury, and our offensive line probably was the worst offensive line we've ever seen in the history of sports, and they just brought his play down. I mean, Spencer Long next to him and these other garbage guys we had, Brian Winters is not as bad as we say. With a full training camp, let's see him healthy, and I think Brian Winters has a chance to start on this offensive line.
I'll be better. A healthy Brian Winters will be the starting right guard. Period. In my opinion.
Yep.
Okay.
A healthy Brian Winters will be the starting right guard.
I got a rebuttal up here. Hold on. So, you said last year. So, Jay, where was he at the year before that when he sucked? Or the year before that when he sucked? Where was Brian Winters at then? Because I haven't seen nothing.
The first 2 years, I don't think. I mean, he downplayed it with his injury, but the first 2 years weren't that bad. I think we're just going to have to see with that one, to tell you the truth.
When did he have a good season? Can anybody tell me, when did